I'm Heather at Umi Nami Farm. It's May 12th, 2023, and winter is over. Overwintered crops are also over. This, believe it or not, is the kakina that we've been enjoying so much for the last few months. They've all gone to these beautiful flowers, and the bees are really enjoying them, but they're not really, there's not much to harvest left anymore here for sale anyways. And so these guys are finished. In the greenhouse, our overwintered chard has also gone to seed. They've also sent up these long, big, tall flower stalks, and the flavor has changed. They're not good for eating anymore. But we're rolling over into the stuff that we've planted this year. The new Swiss chard is starting to come. We have lots of beautiful turnips now, and Japanese greens that are coming from this year's plantings. And so I'll show you today some of that, but first, let's head over to the seedling greenhouse and see what's happening there. So here we are in one of our two seedling greenhouses. Over the past month since our last video, we set up what one of the workers called the seedling palace. What we did is we came through and put up shade cloth on the top, on the south side, and on the east and west sides. The reason we did this is because in the past when we were raising seedlings here, they always just seemed a little stressed out. Just like something was tight, stressful for them, kind of like a little too purple, a little too yellow than we would expect them to be. And so what we did is we put up the shade cloth to reduce how much the strength of the solar energy coming in. We also put the benches closer together, so hopefully with more plants closer together, they kind of modify their own humidity. And things are looking a lot better than normal for the seedlings we're raising here. What we've got going right now is we've got eggplants. This is a variety called Binan. This is one of a few different varieties of Japanese eggplants we grow. I love how purple they are. Even these little buds are purple, and you get the purple on the backside of the leaves like that. When they produce fruit, even the calyx of the fruit is purple. So these are real beauties. We will wait for these to flower before we transplant them. So it's probably going to be another, I want to say another 2 weeks before we transplant, maybe, depending on how fast they grow. We'll see how that goes. What we also have is we have melon seedlings here. This is Miyama Uri, which is one of our favorites that we've been saving seed for several years now. Yeah, you can see how they're starting to make little side branches. Let's check how the roots are doing. That's kind of one sign. Yeah, you can see roots coming out the bottom. Those will soon be going to the greenhouse for transplanting. A little bit of watermelon. We've cut back on watermelon because the raccoons always tend to get it. Here is our shishito peppers. This is manganji, which is a longer type. And, okay, mostly manganji here. Do we have other varieties? This one, Ace, is actually a Japanese-style bell pepper. So it's it'll produce these little tiny bell peppers with thinner walls than the ones you usually see in the supermarket. These seedlings are looking lovely right now. No, well, there's a couple little roots coming out the bottom. Like I said, for the eggplants, we'll wait till they have flowers and then transplant them because that sort of sets them up for fruiting right from the get-go. Tomatoes, hopefully going in the ground maybe next week. The first few have started to have flowers. The others may soon as well. And so we're really happy with how things are going in this greenhouse, having modified the environment. And it's the on-season, so it's time to get all these kinds of crops going. So speaking of spring crops, we finally have snow peas. These guys are starting to produce now, and they're looking beautiful. The plants themselves are showing a little bit of yellow on the bottom here, so I'll keep an eye on the water. It's also probably a little on the hot side for them in the greenhouse at this point, especially with the heat wave that we're going into right now. But they're doing well. They're looking beautiful. We're really happy to see these guys. The other thing I'll show you while we're here is we have our first daikon almost ready. All right, daikon. They're not that big yet, but you can start to see they're looking like little mini daikons kind of a thing. And the leaves are really beautiful for eating right now too. They're at their most, they're still at a really tender stage right now. So we'll hopefully be seeing some of those in the box program and hopefully at Fujiya before too long. This is the first daikon of the new season. I like to try to show the things that are going well and a little bit of the things that aren't going well as well. And unfortunately, one of the things that's not going so well is zucchini. We had really hoped to have really nice early zucchini this year, and we might have a tiny bit, but unfortunately these guys are not doing so great. So if you look down the row, like these plants in the foreground here, like they're looking okay, but if we go down the end here, these ones are not happy. Yeah, you can kind of see, well, this one's doing poorly because I pulled it up to check the roots. But even these ones here, where they've been allowed to grow, they're a fraction of the size of the other plants. They just kind of sat here, barely staying alive. They look a little bit better since I gave them some kelp fertilizer last week. But one problem they're having is, you might remember from an earlier video last year, I showed these little white creatures called symphilins. And when I pulled this one up, there was about 10 of them on the roots. And to find 10 means there is a lot. Now, we have had problems with them in this greenhouse in the past. It might also be that we made some mistakes with the type and with the type of fertilizer we used here and the way in which we incorporated it. And that may also have increased the amount of symphilins. We accidentally put fresh alfalfa pellets instead of pre-fermented alfalfa pellets, and they were also too close to the roots of the plant, which would have meant that there was a food source for the symphilins right next to the plants, and also the roots of the plants of themselves might not have been happy with this undecomposed stuff right next to them. So between location and some errors on our part and the unknown, I'm not sure these guys down this end are going to be able to do much. Hopefully the others will be able to produce something. Hopefully we'll be able to have some zucchini in the box program before long. But like I said, not everything goes quite the way you hope. But we're glad something's working. Thanks for watching today. That's it for now. I'm going to go and start doing some mowing and tilling and whatnot. And speaking of tilling, this is our field number 1, which has recently been tilled. By the time we do our next video, we will probably have started to plant outside. We are still doing our planting indoors right now, but by the time 1 month from now, outdoor planting will likely have begun. And so there'll be all kinds of new things to talk about. Thanks for watching. It's really fun to share this with you guys. If you have any requests for stuff you want to see, please let us know so we can do our best to incorporate it. And in the meantime, best wishes for the spring season.